Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of what we have done so far. Campaigning on in full swing as fifth phase of India's parliamentary election draws near. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will file nomination papers from Varanasi constituency. India takes an important step to enhance connectivity with Central Asia and access to Afghanistan. Seals 10-year pact with Iran to jointly develop and manage the Chabahar port. Star witness in Trump hush money trial, Michael Cohen testifies for the first time, says he doled out $130,000 at Trump's direction and was promised reimbursement. Fresh US aid is already on battlefield as Moscow tries to scale up its offensive against Ukraine in Kharkiv. 77th Cannes Film Festival to begin in France with 22 films competing for the Palme d'Or. Lia Shadow, the second act, will open the festival. The Philippine Coast Guard has deployed a patrol ship and inflatable boats to deter and monitor Chinese research vessels in the area near what it called the Escoda Shoal. Philippines says it suspects China could be embarking on a grand strategy to seal off an oil-rich area in the disputed South China Sea before reclamation. It also suspects Beijing to use it as a base to thwart the movements of Philippine vessels after crushed corals were discovered near the Sabina Shoal. China has carried out extensive land reclamation on some islands in the South China Sea, building air force and other military facilities, causing concern in Washington and around the region. The Philippines, China, Malaysia, Brunei and Vietnam have competing claims in the South China Sea. All right, for more on this, DD India's Laura Westbrook joins us with more from Hong Kong. Laura, what more can you tell us about what is taking place at the Sabina Shoal in the South China Sea?
Yes, so Manila says that it has sent ships to the Sabina Shoal in the Spratly archipelago. This is where it says China is building this artificial island and that in doing so it has crushed coral. This area is within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, although China does claim almost all the South China Sea. And the Philippine Coast Guard spokesman has said that sending a ship there is to act as a deterrent for Beijing to build in building these artificial islands, and that it was committed to maintaining a presence there. Now, the response from Beijing, we heard from the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman, has called these latest accusations by Manila groundless. They've called it a smear, and they've said that that they will act on it. And I was looking at some other reaction from state-run media. The Global Times says that any actions that the Philippines takes in provoking in this area, that it will take strong countermeasures. So we're really hearing, from both sides, there is tensions are heating up, and they really are. Neither side is backing down.
Tensions are heating up, but China and the Philippines' relations are at crossroads amid maritime incidents. Laura, you think this will further deteriorate the relation between the two countries?
Well, yes, as you mentioned, we are seeing increasingly combative encounters in the South China Sea, especially in recent months between the Philippines and China, with Chinese Coast Guard vessels blocking Philippine resupply missions into the area. In doing so, the Philippines says that they've used water cannon, they've even injured some Philippine crew members. And I think what we're seeing here as well is an increasingly assertive Philippines under the president of Marcos, and that comes with the backing of the United States. some of the tactics that the Philippines has used is to bring journalists or NGOs on board the vessels in the South China Sea to witness these encounters. And I was reading just this week, an NGO is set to travel on board a Philippine vessel into the South China Sea. That is most likely going to anger Beijing. And last week, we've seen the annual Balikatan, that means the shoulder-to-shoulder drills, the largest ever military drills taking place in the South China Sea, but with the United States and the Philippines. And a day after those drills finished, we saw the People's Liberation Army of China starting its own military exercises in the South China Sea.
All right, Laura, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the latest from Hong Kong. The situation continues to worsen as fresh violence erupted in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir due to clashes between protesters and authorities. Several videos circulating on social media show protesting civilians running for their lives as protests turn violent. This comes amid a wheel jam strike that is continuing for the fourth consecutive day in POK. Protesters have already started sit-ins, effectively shutting down the Kohala-Muzaffarabad road at various points along its 40-kilometer stretch which connects Kohala town with Muzaffarabad in POK. The Awami Action Committee had called for a shutdown and wheel jam strike across the state as a mark of their protest against electricity price hikes and taxes. However, the situation escalated as clashes broke out between protesters and police. The ongoing strike has brought daily life to a standstill, with markets, educational institutes and transport services suspended.
The situation in Muzaffarabad, the capital of Pakistani-occupied Jammu Kashmir, is getting very, very serious. What happened is this morning, about 500,000 people descended upon Muzaffarabad and in the suburbs to protest against taxes on electricity bills, cuts in subsidies, and to demand end to the perks and privileges of the Prime Minister, the President, all members of Legislative Assembly as well as the judges and bureaucracy. We are in a desperate situation. We need the international community to come and stand by us, raise their voice for us. The Indian repertoire in the United Nations, we request them to raise their voice at the United Nations Forum. We also request the Indian government to instruct the Ministry of External Affairs to summon the Pakistan ambassador and ask for an explanation. This is broad daylight murder that is taking place in POJK. Our lives are in danger, people's lives are in danger.
Now, part of a collapsed bridge in Baltimore has been deliberately destroyed to allow them to remove a portion of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. Since the crash, 4 temporary channels have been opened, allowing for some shipping to resume. The Corps said it aims to restore port access to full capacity by the end of May. A ship struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge on 26 March, causing it to collapse and killing 6 construction workers. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed after it was hit by a cargo ship, the Dali, which lost power and veered off course. The collision sent around 4,000 tons of debris into the Patapsco River. Maryland estimates it will cost $1.7 billion to $1.9 billion to rebuild the bridge and anticipates completion by fall 2028. The Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan met with Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis in Ankara on Monday for bilateral talks. The meet comes as the two countries step up to improve ties between the two countries. Turkey and Greece have had a series of issues, including maritime boundaries, energy resources in the eastern Mediterranean, flights over the Aegean Sea, and an ethnically split Cyprus. The two, however, came together as NATO allies.
When
I was in Athens in December, I had shared with you my belief that there are no problems between Turkey and Greece that are so large that they are unsolvable. This is a process. To get more results, it needs to be carried forward meticulously.
paylaşmıştım.
Hundreds of university students in the Georgian capital walked out of classes on Monday and marched to Parliament to voice their opposition to a bill on foreign agents. The Foreign Agents Bill has triggered a political crisis in the South Caucasus County. The bill requires organizations receiving more than 20% of the funding from abroad to register as agents of foreign influence. The bill's opponents have staged near nightly protests for a month in Tbilisi. A rally on Saturday was one of the largest Georgia has seen since it won its independence from Moscow in 1991. The European Union has said the bill threatens Georgia's bid to join the bloc. The Parliament's main chamber is expected to debate and approve the bill as early as Tuesday. Weather updates from across the globe now. Devastating and ongoing flooding in southern Brazil is forcing some of the 500,000 displaced residents to consider moving on higher ground. 2 weeks after the onset of torrential rains, the Guaíba River, running by country's southernmost state, Rio Grande do Sul, is rising again, having passed the all-time high. The disaster has killed at least 147 people, with 127 still missing so far. The record devastation in Rio Grande do Sul follows floods in the second half of last year, leading many of the 538,000 people now displaced from their homes to consider more extreme adaptations. Environmental experts warn that there is no alternative for some towns in the state but to relocate entire neighborhoods. A tornado touched down on Venetia, Pennsylvania on Saturday, destroying buildings and sending debris flying through the air. Video shared online shows how the storm blew patio furniture and other items around as it passed through the township in Washington County. Local media reported the storm knocked down trees and prompted people to take shelter for around 40 minutes. Thousands of people in Canada's westernmost province of British Columbia have been evacuated as an enormous wildfire continues to grow. The massive blazes sent enormous plumes of smoke into the United States as well as Europe. Firefighters on Monday battled the wildfire heading towards the Canadian town. 6 crews of firefighters backed by 13 helicopters worked on Monday to establish a containment line near Fort McMurray. British Columbia's Minister of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, Bowen Ma, said conditions in the north of the Pacific province were extremely challenging. A searing heat wave hit southeastern Mexico over the weekend, causing blackouts nationwide and pushing the power grid to the brink. The intense heat caused blackouts lasting several hours in some areas of Mexico last week and caused classes to be suspended, which this week reached 50 Celsius. The heat wave comes amid a severe nationwide drought that has caused a worsening water crisis in much of Mexico. Now, the 77th edition of the Cannes Film Festival begins today in the southern French city of Cannes. The opening day will see celebrities, actors and filmmakers from around the world walk the iconic red carpet. The opening film is The Second Act, a comedy by French director Quentin Dupieux. It is an out-of-competition film. 22 films, including an Indian film, All We Imagine as Light by Payal Kapadia, are competing for the prestigious Palme d'Or. It is awarded to the director of the Best Feature Film. Celebrated American actor Meryl Streep is the guest of honor at the opening ceremony. She is making an appearance at the festival 35 years after winning the Best Actress Award for Evil Angels at the festival. She is being conferred with an honorary Palme d'Or for her contribution to the cinema. The 12-day-long festival concludes on 25th May. Time now for another short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India NewsHour. Melinda French Gates steps down from charity foundation. Euro 2024 trophy arrives at the Munich Allianz Arena ahead of the tournament. And a mixed breed dog won the Westminster Dog Show's agility competition for the first time in history. Details after the break.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Bill Gates' former wife Melinda French Gates said on Monday that she would step down as co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation effective next month. In a statement on X, French Gates stated that her departure and the Gates' earlier divorce arrangement would provide her with an additional $12.5 billion to commit to my work on behalf of women and families, unquote. Bill Gates and Melinda French Gates got divorced in May 2021. The Gates said in 2021 that they had reached an agreement on how to divide their marital assets, but no details of that agreement were disclosed in the final divorce order filed in court. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates said in a post on X, and I quote him, "I'm sorry to see Melinda leave, but I'm sure she will have a huge impact in her future philanthropic work." Now, ChatGPT maker OpenAI has released a new AI model called GPT-4o. Here O stands for Omni. It is the latest update to its artificial intelligence model that powers ChatGPT. The new AI model is capable of realistic voice conversation and able to interact across text and vision. Its latest move to stay ahead in a race to dominate the emerging technology.
Hello there, new AI friend. I'm O, ready to explore the world through your eyes. What are we looking at today?
Hi, O. We're looking at a person wearing a black leather jacket and a light-colored shirt. They're in a room with a modern industrial feel, with exposed concrete or plaster on the ceiling and some interesting lighting. There's also a plant in the background, adding a touch of green to the space. Anything specific you'd like to know or explore?
Interesting. And the new audio capabilities enable users to speak to ChatGPT and obtain real-time responses with no delay, as well as interrupt ChatGPT while it is speaking. Both hallmarks of realistic conversations that AI voice chatbots have not had until now.
Hello, AI. Today, you're going to have access to see the world. You can see me. What do you see?
Hello. I see you're wearing a black leather jacket and a light-colored shirt underneath.
Great.
You're in a...
And during a presentation on Monday, researchers used the updated AI model to coach through a math equation, analyze data on a graph, and provide real-time language translations, among other demonstrations. Let us now listen to a song by the new Comma Singer, which is an AI.
Actually, can you just sing a song about what just transpired?
Oh, in a room with a stylish view, a person stood in sleek black and light hue. Engage with us so direct.
And can you alternate lines?
Person with style and speed, person with style and sleek, with a playful moment right in the midst, in the room, in a room where modern lights speak.
All right, moving further. Asian shares hovered around 15-month highs on Tuesday, and the dollar was firm ahead of highly anticipated US inflation data. While Japanese bonds were squeezed as the central bank pulled back a little on its bond buying program, world stocks were steady overnight, poised just below record peaks. A survey released on Monday by the New York Fed showed Americans see inflation a year from now at 3.3%, higher than they did a month earlier. And later on Tuesday, U.S. producer price figures will be closely watched. In the currency market, nerves and the inflation expectation survey were enough to keep the dollar from falling. Dollar hit its highest since the start of the month, when traders reckon Japanese authorities were intervening to buy yen. All right, sports updates now. We'll start with Italian Open. French qualifier Alexander Muller came from a set down to beat fourth seed Russian Andrei Rublev in the third round of Italian Open on Monday. Rublev, who won last week's Madrid Open, looked on track to advance to the last 16 in Rome, but Muller fought back to seal a 3-6, 6-3, 6-2 victory. Meanwhile, 6th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece beat Brit Cameron Norrie 6-2, 7-6 and will next face Australia's Alex de Minaur. The 9th seed Minaur saw off Canadian hopeful Félix Auger-Aliassime 6-7, 6-4, 6-4. Football now. The Euro 2024 trophy arrived at the Munich Allianz Arena on Monday ahead of the tournament, where it was welcomed by Euro ambassador Felix Brych and Euro mascot named Albert. In recent weeks, the trophy toured through all 10 host cities of the upcoming Euro 2024, which will kick off in 1 month at the Munich Stadium. On June 14, the German squad will face Scotland in the opening match. The tournament is expected to attract 2.7 million fans to stadiums and up to 12 million at public viewing events. The final game, the tournament, will be played in Berlin on July 14th. All right, cricket now. Gujarat Titans' hopes of qualifying for the Indian Premier League playoffs was dashed on Monday as rain washed out their must-win encounter against Kolkata Knight Riders without a ball being bowled. It meant KKR were assured of a top-2 finish with 19 points from 13 games. Meanwhile, Gujarat are out of the playoff race. The toss didn't happen at scheduled time of 7 p.m. due to incessant lightning, which was followed by slight drizzle that became heavier as time passed by. KKR had already secured their place in the playoffs after they defeated Mumbai Indians in their previous fixture. Indian Grandmasters Koneru Hampi, Vaishali Ramesh Babu and Pragnananda Ramesh Babu are set to compete in the 12th edition of the prestigious Norway Chess in Norway. The prestigious event will feature world number 1 Magnus Carlsen, world number 3 Hikaru Nakamura, current world champion Ding Lijian and women's world champion Zhu Wenjun, among others. Popularly known as the Wimbledon of Chess, Norway Chess annually extend invitations to the top grandmasters from the world rating list. The event is scheduled to take place from 27th May to 7th June. Now, a Maryland dog zigged and zagged her way to history at the 2024 Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show after becoming the first mixed breed dog to claim the Kennel Club's 11th annual Masters Agility Championship. The aptly named Nimble, a 6-year-old female, zipped through various hurdles at astonishing speed to complete the obstacle course at 28.76 seconds before jumping into the arms of her owner.
She's got to be out ahead of him. Hold on, there we go. Get to the backside. There it is. That was a great turn. The crowd is going crazy. Cynthia's way out ahead. You got to get this dog on. They do. Are they going to get a sub 30? Oh, my. Look at this. They will. They do. Oh, my God. That was amazing. Oh. I'm breathless from that.
Well, that's all for this edition of DDI News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.